as you could tell, Cale Makar already in the S tier. The only question with Cale Makar is, are we putting him in a tier by himself, or is Quinn Hughes a candidate to be in there with him? Is Zach Werenski, or is Cale Makar just truly in a class by himself?
I have him in a class of his own. I mean, he's only there. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with like Quinn Hughes coming extremely close to that, but the pace at which Makar can score goals, the pace of which he can rack up points and play every single position that you need. So power play, 5-on-5, penalty kill. He is, to me, he sits in a league of his own. Like he is the top defenseman in fantasy, and that's about it. You could argue about what, like, Quinn Hughes is certainly very, very close. I just don't think Quinn Hughes can score at the same level that Makar can.
This is the argument, and I agree with you. I think we put him in, and that's not a knock on Quinn Hughes or Zach Werenski, but this is the argument I'll make. Last year, when we were previewing the season and doing our mock drafts, you get Cale Makar towards the back end of the first round. Sometimes if you felt frisky, you could even wait for that turn, get him early in the second round. Couldn't get him after that point. To see him even get to the middle of the second round was like, whoa. This year, your top three are pretty much always going to be McDavid, Draisaitl, McKinnon, outside of like various premium position, whatever leagues or anything like that. Kucherov is pretty much a solidified 4, but you could sell me on Makar at 4. But he is the 5th overall pick, and that's not a knock to David Pastrnak, but it's going to be heavy. It's going to be tough in Boston this year. Whereas he is just, I don't remember, like, besides like maybe peak Erik Karlsson in Ottawa, there hasn't really been a bona fide first round defenseman like Makar, at least in some time.
Yeah, and listen, he can rack up shots as well. He can block shots as well. He doesn't throw his weight around, but like, it is hard to hit your opponent when the puck is always on your stick. So that's one of those categories where you're like, you can't, like, you either get a ton of shots or you could get a ton of hits, but he possesses the puck. He fills multiple categories. If that's a league that you're in, there is, to me, there's no argument. He is one class above in the fantasy hockey world.
Okay, now before we move on and start doing the other ones, because obviously the guy who's going to probably lead off tier 2 here is Quinn Hughes. So let's just throw him in the A tier here. In a world where Cale Makar doesn't exist, do we talk about Quinn Hughes in the same way Cale Makar gets talked about, at least from a fantasy perspective?
I think so. I have nothing wrong with Quinn Hughes sitting where he is at this point, regardless of what the Canucks do. If they can generate offense, like, Quinn Hughes will still get all the attention that he deserves, and he is a very good defenseman to quarterback any of your fantasy teams. Like, it's, if you're in that second round, you've taken a bona fide goal scorer and you can get him towards the end of the second round, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing that'll slow you down. Maybe the shot volume can be a little bit tricky there. We'll see what he can produce. You can maybe have a conversation and say, oh, well, like, can the goal scoring be where it needs to be? Maybe, but to me, he's right there.
So he's going to lead off tier 2, or the A tier, we'll say. Zach Werenski obviously belongs in there. You know, he would have ran away with a Norris Trophy last year if it wasn't for a guy named Cale Makar, obviously in a class by himself. Really no arguments there. And I would assume Rasmus Dahlin also going in this A tier here, in this, we'll call it, it's a second tier, but if it really is the top tier, because Cale Makar, like we said, in a class by himself.
I would put Rasmus Dahlin there for a number of reasons. One, I mean, he's on a terrible team, so he's going to play a ton. And in fantasy hockey, you need production. He's going to give it to you. He can shoot the puck. He can block shots as well. He is a cause. If you play fantasy hockey on DraftKings, he is a threat to finish what we call the double bonus, which is 5+ shots, 3+ block shots, and those are big categories for a defenseman to fill. I will leave Zach Werenski in the A column. I do like his goal scoring is second, maybe Cale Makar. The problem is
22 last year.
20, yeah. And listen, anytime a defenseman's flirting with 20 some odd goals, that is elite beyond elite. He can shoots the puck a bunch and everything. The only thing that worried me was the splits. At home, he was on a whole other planet. At home, he was Cale Makar, and then on the road, all of a sudden, he fell apart. But it's not just him. Like the Columbus Blue Jackets as a team did not have good home versus away splits. So you have to take the good, the exceptionally good, and then the kind of mediocre with him on the road. But that, again, for fantasy purposes, if you're in a league where goals matter, he scores them. And I'm hoping he can push like the 70 plus points, right? Which is still asking a lot because you need about 20 goals, 50 assists. I don't know if he can constantly do that just with the way that Columbus played on the road. But if they can be just a little bit better and he can continue to tear at the pace, nobody's taking his spot. That's the one thing you can look at with Werenski. Nobody's taking a spot. That's his. It's his every night. The upside is there. The shot volume is just elite. So if you have a chance to put your hands on Zach Werenski, go ahead.
All right. So we still got 21 guys to go here. Victor Hedman. We're still putting him in this A tier here. I know we're starting to get to the end here, but I would still put him up there for, he's the top dog in Tampa Bay, all around guy, contributes in every category. He's still there for me. Like, to me, he's like, okay, the draft went defenseman heavy early. At least Hedman's still there to okay, I could still get him. So to me, he's still in that class.
I can live with it, but he is definitely the poor man's version of that class. Like the gap between Quinn Hughes and him is significant. He's probably a better real life defenseman at this point than he is fantasy. I don't know if the numbers are going to be able to be as high for it to merit him being your number one defense. And that is me, right? Some people may not see it the same way, but the volume is certainly not there anymore for him. The points can still be there just because when you're on a power play with Kucherov, like Kucherov had 100 plus assists in one season. I mean, the man can facilitate the puck wherever he wants on the ice. But to me, he's borderline A, probably better, like top end B. He kind of falls into that middle category there. But if you want to build your team, if you're getting him, let's say in the third round, somewhere there, I can live with it.
Now, I will point out, 16-year vet, a lot of tread off the tires, but 15 goals, 51 assists, 26 power play points last year, still averaging a little over 23 minutes a game. So this is probably the last year that he's going to be in this tier and then not drop down. But yeah, I agree that's probably where that tier ends. Now, this is a guy we'll talk about more on the Norris later, but Adam Fox, he leads off this tier here, we think?
I would have no problem with somebody arguing for him to be in the A tier list as well.
He's got that potential. He's
definitely done it. The Rangers are now moving him out of being handcuffed to whatever below
Ryan Lindgren,
right? And like Fox is an elite defenseman. He can play multiple, he can play the power play, he can play the penalty kill 5-on-5. He is an above average defender. He is very, very good. The problem is that you're going to look at his numbers from last year and say, well, he's not very good. You say, okay, but that is a team issue, right? And for me, Fox deserves that top power play unit spot. He's a great facilitator. Maybe the goals aren't there. The shot volume also is, but you're comparing him in a group with guys like, Werenski and Dahlin, guys who can take multiple shots. That's not his game. He can block a whole bunch of shots. So if you're looking for defensemen who can block shots as well, along with rack up points, Adam Fox is the name. He could easily finish with 60 plus assists. Easily.
And here's the other thing. Like you pointed out, he plays on the top power play, second penalty kill unit, so he's getting all his special. And here's the other thing, too. He got shackled by he was shackled by Ryan Lindgren. It's the polar opposite of that effect with Gavrikov. Now Fox can run free knowing, hey, Gavrikov's got my back. Very rarely is he going to is that going to make me look bad? So, yeah, he's going to have more freedom this year. New coaching system in place. Sullivan knows what he's gotten him. Been in the same division with them forever. So, yeah, a lot of reasons. And as a Ranger fan, I got no problem bumping him up into that A tier. So now that we have Fox there, are we ready to put Morrissey to lead off the B tier? Is he the guy to lead off the B? Okay.
He's like, and again, there's nothing wrong with him. He's a great. You're probably going to get him at good value. Like there's a lot of good defensemen at the top, but you know what you're getting with Josh Morrissey when he's healthy. The Winnipeg Jets are still a very good team, and Josh Morrissey is still the best defenseman on his team. He's going to see power play time. He's going to get the opportunity to go out there and contribute. The Jets are still a team that are going to score goals. Like and same thing like a lot of other defensemen. He's going to get opportunities on the power play, going to get opportunities on the penalty kill. He's probably a 65-point guy. That's probably the ceiling of what I'm looking at. Anything more than that is a bonus. If you're getting a 65-plus point defenseman at that point, you're doing just fine.
What's Seider's ADP? Moritz Seider's ADP at? We'll talk about Moritz Seider in a little bit there, but he's also another bounce back candidate because, and yes, I know he's on a bad team, but he's a guy that probably you're looking at maybe more in that like 6th, 7th, 8th round range. Is probably waiting a little too late at that point, depending upon the league.
Listen, for Moritz Seider in itself, this is a player who won Rookie of the Year. And then he's kind of just been there. He is again, he's probably a much better real life defenseman than he is in terms of fantasy. Like he has not eclipsed 50 points ever. But there are things that he does well, right? He plays a lot. He defends. He blocks shots. The volume isn't there. He's only 24, by the way. Like he's 24 and he's entering his 5th year in the league. He has played every game. Like he's played 82 games in 40 years. So the consistency with him is there. The problem is he plays on a terrible team. And I'm not seeing enough from him fantasy wise, like in a points league to really say, yeah, man, I got to go out and get him. He is to me, he's a C tier level defenseman. You add him as a second, probably better suited as a third defenseman on your fantasy team. But it's because I want to see the upside in points. I want to see him explode for 55, 60 points and really go out there. I'm not seeing it yet. And it's, again, maybe it's just building and it's fine. He's a young kid. He's a defenseman learning to play in the NHL, but I'm still waiting for that explosion. But getting that 45 to 50 point range defenseman is not elite. That's just good.
And remember, we are ranking from a fantasy perspective, not a on the ice perspective here in this exercise. And yes, there's still good defensemen that are out there that aren't on this top 25 and ADP for Yahoo that we're using. Like a Cam Fowler is a perfect example of somebody that I'm very happy with as my 4th defenseman. Seth Jones, very happy with him as my 3rd. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind. We're just going through because we can't be here all day, right? So we talked about Seider, we talked about Morrissey. Let's just put. I'm going to put Blaine Hudson here in the B tier, and I'll just give you the floor.
I mean, listen, what he did as a rookie is just beyond understanding, right? Like he had 60 assists as a rookie in the NHL. That's like he's a kid. He's literally a child. He can finally drink in the United States. Like he is good. And is it possible that he takes a step back? Maybe, right? Because now the league's going to understand it. But there's a couple of things that come in here. One, his skating is great. Like he is an above average skater. And that makes up for the fact that he is a shorter king. Like he's 5'9", right? 5'9", 162 pounds. Like he's not a big boy. And sometimes that scares people. From a fantasy perspective, he's quarterbacking that top unit. I know Noah Dobson's in town. But that is like Hudson. Once Hudson figures out that he can shoot the puck as well, he's going to be just fine. That's probably where the peripherals come out. He's not a heavy shot volume guy. Doesn't really block a ton of shots either. But he's racking up assists. He is a poor man's version of Adam Fox, basically. Right? And I think as that confidence comes and he understands his role, teams are going to worry more about him trying to facilitate the puck, which means he's going to get scoring opportunities. So maybe we don't see as many assists. Maybe we see more goals. Listen, if he's flirting anywhere with the 65-point total, and just to put this into context, like he didn't get the starting job out of camp on the top power play unit. They ran Mike Matheson out there too long. Patrick Laine, if he's healthy, you get a full year of him on the power play as well. That shot is lethal. There are lots of options. Demidov is coming up. There are lots of Montreal Canadiens forwards that can find the back of the net consistently at a high level. And he's going to be facilitating that puck. So I would be more than comfortable with having him. If you've gone out and you've taken, let's say, a goalie in the first couple of rounds and 2 elite players, if you're catching him in that 4th round, now you're getting some good value. The goals are not going to be there, but you dealt with that at the beginning. You know what I mean? You found the goals elsewhere.
That's my thing about, okay, the defensemen aren't delivering goals. If you're using defensemen as a source of goals, that's a problem because there's very few Cale Makar and Zach Werenski's. So to me, a guy with a crazy assist total that only has 4 goals, great. I'll get my goals from a left wing, a right wing, somewhere else in my lineup. So like goal production, I don't necessarily care about from defensemen. Maybe somebody like an Evan Bouchard who's got that, cannon from the point on that power play. Different style defenseman though.
Yeah, and listen, I get that he's a crazy assist bomb guy. That's it to start, but that's 60 assists though in a rookie season, and now you can better that on a team that, to me, the Montreal Canadiens, as long as they're healthy, there are more guys that can find the back of the net, and that is key. You need guys to be able to finish, right? In order for you to get assists, you need guys to find the back of the net. The Montreal Canadiens have guys who can find the back of the net.
All right, so a couple more guys I want to throw in this B tier here as well. Before we, because we got a bunch of guys to get to, and I can't believe I forgot to have Evan Bouchard on my list. So before I get him in the queue below, Thomas Harley, B tier or C tier? I say B tier because that's the guy you want to own in Dallas on that high octane, very potent offense. He's the guy that's quarterbacking the power play. Played for Team Canada in the Four Nations, showed he can handle the big stage a little bit. So he's a guy I'm throwing in that B tier. An underrated guy that I would also throw in that is Mackenzie Weegar, because across the board, he just gets you everything, and he's the guy in Calgary. So far, any problem with those two guys being in the B tier?
For Thomas Harley, I want to see the next step out of him, but he's going to get a chance, and it's going to hinder on how much Miro Heiskanen plays, because Miro Heiskanen to me is a better real life defenseman, right? I would take like as many Miro Heiskanens as possible on my team, right? And Heiskanen is the same thing. He is an assist bomb first. Harley can score goals, right? In his last 2 years, he scored 16 last year, 15 the year before. He can find the back of the net. And the Dallas Stars are just loaded with offensive skill. So he can go out there and pick up his assists well. The problem is he hasn't done that. He hasn't gotten a ton of assists. But I also want to see the playing time increase. I want to see him get those top power play opportunities. I want to see him roll out there. I think you could probably get him at a great discount because some people are just going to forget him, or they're not going to think that he's that good. And that's false. The scoring is there. The points are just not following just yet. But I think the explosion can come. For Weegar, it's maybe the points aren't going to be there as much. I think maybe Rasmus Anderson still being there kind of clouds that as to what the Calgary Flames want to do. The Flames in general as a team are a low-scoring team. So his value is going to come from everything else that he does, which is block shots, right? He throws his weight around a little bit. The shot volume can be good. It's hit or miss, right? Okay. That's kind of he's probably on the lower end of the B tier. Right. But he's more, I think he has a higher floor than, let's say, a guy like Moritz Seider. So,
all right. So Evan Bouchard, no disrespect. Are we putting him with Adam Fox at the end of that A tier, or maybe even ahead of Hedman?
He's probably at the end of the A tier. And
okay.
the problem is with Evan Bouchard is what you're getting from him, right? There's no other way around it. You know that you're getting the upside on the power play. If he doesn't have that, then it doesn't work, right? If the Edmonton Oilers are not dialed in on the power play, then it slows everything down for him. He had what last season? He had 67 points, which is great, but it's not the 82 that he had the previous year. And that's because we saw Edmonton's power play not be as efficient. So yes, he's going to get goals. He's going to rack up those secondary assists and stuff on the power play. He's a big hit or miss, right? I think he's closer to what we saw last year. I think he's closer to a 65-point defenseman. Because if he's at an 82 pace like he was the year before, well, now he's in the Cale Makar conversation because now he's averaging a point per game, scoring a ton of goals. Not there yet. I don't think so. Good news is he's going to play a lot because there's nobody else quarterbacking that top unit. And Edmonton exclusively runs that top unit out a ton. Like they're on the ice for as long as humanly possible. So there's some to be there. But if you're betting on him being an 80-plus point player, I got news for you. That's not it.
Now we talked about Thomas Harley, and you mentioned Heiskanen. Because Heiskanen is like the perfect example of not way better in real life, but definitely better real life defenseman than fantasy defenseman. He's still very good though. So are we putting him in that seat? He's kind of to me like right near Sider. To me, like that's where he kind of belongs.
Yeah, and listen, Miro Heiskanen has never been a guy who scores a ton of goals. In his best year, he scored 11, and that's when he had 73 points. He's come down a little bit. Last year, we'll throw it out the door because he was hurt. So he played 50 games, 25 points. But I think he's a 50 to 55 point defenseman, which is good. But to me, that's the minimum bar in fantasy. Like if your defenseman's not hitting 50 points, like they're probably closer to the waiver wire. But again, there are lots of things that he does well as a real life defenseman. But in fantasy perspective, especially if he's got to fight for time with Thomas Harley on that top unit, like that really sets his ceiling low. So he needs to do everything else well. He's not a massive shot guy. He does block shots, but that's not what he's there to do, right? I just think the value on him, depending on where you're getting him, is limited. So if you're paying up for him, you're not going to get what you think you're getting.
So another guy. So let's go on to Jacob Chikrin here, who is I've seen going near Adam Fox in terms of ADP in a lot of the mock drafts I've been doing. We've already talked about Fox's upside. We think he's a huge bounce back candidate. Spoiler alert: he's the guy I'm going to pick for my Norris Trophy pick when we talk about that a little bit later. Is he rounding out the B tier here? Is he maybe above Weegar, above Harley? I don't think I'm necessarily having him lead the C tier here. I think he still belongs at the B tier, but maybe towards the back end.
You can. Here's the thing, though. He scored 20 goals. That is like for a defenseman. That is great. The problem is he had 27 assists. And that's considering he sometimes plays on the top unit. Like John Carlson's still there, and John Carlson still eats into his ice time. And like, I am old enough to remember when Jacob Chikrin was an absolute just beast with the Arizona Coyotes. Like we're talking high upside in point. Like the shot volume and the block shots were just elevated. And you're probably still going to get a little bit of that. But he's topped what? 50 points? Never. Like 47 was his career high last year. So
we'll put him in that C tier, and because Carlson kind of cancels him out a little bit, I think they both kind of belong there.
I think he's got a better upside though than Slider, just because like the team is better. Ovi's still there. Like it's real simple, man. Just move the puck over to Ovi. But the 20 goals definitely that's like he can score goals. That we know. He is finished now with 10 or more goals 4 times in his career. So like he can find the back of the net. He just needs the all-around points, or you're going to need to do everything else that he's done super well his entire career to make it happen, right? You're talking probably 250 shots, 150 block shots, minimum bar.
All right, so we're in this BC mix, but not quite in the CD mix yet. Shea Theodore, how do we feel about him? Top power play unit in Vegas. I almost said Vancouver. They wish. Obviously Vegas is going to be an improved team. Last year, looking up what Shea Theodore did, don't have that open. Excuse me.
57 points
7 and
last
50.
Year.
So
7 and 50 and 67.
So kind of like a similar stat line to like a Lane Hudson type. Doesn't necessarily get you the physical categories with the hits, but because of he's going to be in a high octane power play, I'm still willing to have him be in that like last call for B tier kind of spot.
I'm very high on Shea Theodore. He is a player who can contribute offensively. The loss of Pietrangelo doesn't really hurt him. I think that's going to be a committee approach and maybe more of Noah Hannafin's job, right? The only thing that can slow him down is Noah Hannafin. But like Theodore is out there to produce. 57 and 67 games. So if he plays 82, he's at the 65-point range, which is very, very good for a defenseman. He is going to get the top power play opportunities. You also bring in Mitch Marner. You bring in 100 points. Like that power play can be really, really lethal if everything clicks as it should. But Theodore's going to go out there and really challenge for producing offensively from the back end. That is what I think he can do. He's probably not going to block a whole bunch of shots. He's definitely not throwing his weight around. But the shot volume can be good. The points can be good. A lot of people are going to forget about him, but somebody's got to quarterback that top unit. Somebody's got to do it. And he is a player who can do it. It was a big step for him, right, from previous years in Vegas. But, those years before, injuries, things slowed him down. As long as he's healthy, the opportunity for him to do damage is elevated.
All right. So this is the last guy that I'm going to nominate as a B tier defenseman. And yeah, he's not on a good team, but this was a guy that we were arguing as a top 3 defenseman last year, Roman Josi. I think, he's on a bad team, but he is the guy. He's going to get every opportunity. He's going to play on the top power play unit. He's going to play in the penalty kill. I know it can still be a bad team and score goals. I think that he's still anchoring that to me. Like he's the back end, I would say maybe, if I said Theodore was last call, Yossi's really like, okay, like they're starting to lock the doors here. Like we need to like finish up and get out. This
is a guy who was going closer to the end of first rounds, beginning of second, just like 2 years removed. Like he has had 96 points in a season. The year, like last year was completely an off year. The year before that, he had 85 points, right? 23 of those were goals. The Nashville Predators as a team were just atrocious. They were just so bad. And I don't think they'll be elite, but they certainly can't be that much worse, right? And for Josi, there's a couple of things that work in his favor here. One, nobody's challenging him for his spot. Nobody. There's not a single player on that team that's going to take his spot on the top unit, nor do they want it. Two, like maybe the shot volume is not going to be there. Maybe the block shots are not going to be, but they were so high for such a large period of time. Even if you get a little bit less of that, he also doesn't have to play like 27, 28 minutes a night. Like this is a thing where he's 35, right? But he can still produce. I think he's a great bet. If you're getting him as a second defenseman on your team, like you're fine. You're very much fine. You're going to be okay. He could come way up. He could also, maybe we see another year. Maybe he's falling off the cliff. I don't know. But I would definitely take him.
Out of respect to what his pedigree is and what he's capable of, and because of, like you said, he's the only guy there that's going to get all the top opportunities there in Nashville in terms of a defenseman. He closes out that B tier, but another year like last year, now he's falling into that C tier. So we've got a few guys in that C tier: Chikrin, Seider, Heiskanen, Carlson, who I might move down to the D tier depending upon how things go here. Leading off this C tier, here would be, I have 4 candidates that you can make an argument for over Jacob Chikrin: Mikhail Sergachev, Brandon Montour, Dougie Hamilton if he could stay healthy, and Noah Dobson. So of those 4, who do you think is the bona fide leadoff for the C class, C tier?
I would probably put Sergachev there. He's got the most upside.
I didn't want to say it because I know everybody knows how much I love him, but yes.
Yeah. He can do it. He's a guy, same thing. The guy who blocks a ton of shots, everything. He's won Stanley Cups. He knows how to get it done. If he can stay healthy, this Mammoth team is going to be good. So he's going to be part of that group that just goes out there and just fires the puck. I'm not really worried about Sean Durzi or the rest of the gang kind of eating into that. Like it's the same thing. It's him, and then it's whoever else is there.
Now, by that logic, a Brandon Montour, I think, would go right behind him, right? Because again, he's the guy. He's the bona fide top defenseman for Seattle.
You can. I just think Seattle is terrible. This is where careers go to die right now. That offense is putrid. I don't know if they're going to score much. He had 41 points last year, right? Which is, by the way, not great. It's just not. It's not great. I listen. If you want to embark on the Brandon Montour train, go ahead. But to me, he probably leads the D category because it's just not there. He's on a like this. This Seattle team is bad, and maybe he's just not going to get enough opportunities for it to matter. He had 18 goals though, so it's there. But the problem is the rest of that club can't finish, and they have a whole bunch of just mid players on it.
Not going to be a lot of offense probably with Seattle either, and that's the problem. How many points are you going to get? And he's on the second pairing, whereas Vince Dunn is the top pairing defenseman there. Vince Dunn also leads the power play. Montour, a little bit more of a well-rounded guy. Now, we're talking about Vince Dunn. I assume we're just going to put both of those guys in there in the D tier, and we'll figure out where they fall in a little bit here.
Seattle's the problem. Like, Dunn scored, he scored 18, which is more than the year that he had in Florida where he had 16. But the drop-off was an assist. 57 in Florida, 23 in Seattle. The only difference is who can finish. And there's nobody in Seattle that can fly the back of the net, so it doesn't matter.
So, all right. So we're rounding out. And again, there are still quality defensemen left on the table. We're just taking the top 25, 26, because I forgot to count Evan Bouchard in there. So we got 26 there. You get a bonus one. We got 6 to go before we get to the Norris Trophy odds and do our 10-team mock draft here. Dougie Hamilton. He would be, if he could stay healthy, if you could guarantee me his health every year, I'd even put him in the end of that B tier. Because of that, he can't stay healthy. He's got to go in the C tier. It's just a matter of where. You're putting him behind Sergachev, behind Chikrin. I don't know. Your hands are up here.
Howard Bender of Fantasy Alarm always says, right, if my grandma had testicles, she would be my grandfather, right? Like, if he could, if this happened, then this would happen. And that's just, like, if he could stay healthy. But at this point, he's aging. And I think at some point they want Luke Hughes to take over. And they want him to be the next one. And Dougie Hamilton is just not, you don't have to run him out there. He hasn't stayed healthy. And the things that he used to do really, really good is just something he's not going to be able to do at a high level, right? The shot volume, the shot blocks. Man, you're reaching at that point if you really want him. You're banking on something that just may never be there again.
But we have them because the Devils do have a potent offense. We talk about Seattle, they don't got offense. Devils have offense. That's, again, a health an issue with the guy who stirs the drink and Jack Hughes. Do we just have Luke Hughes and Dougie Hamilton leave off that D tier for everything you're saying?
Probably, but there's a lot of upside there. I get it. The upside is intriguing. The problem is like you got to really stretch.
And you're still okay with Carlson being here in the C tier if I'm going to put Hamilton in the back end, or should Carlson, another year of age, move him down?
I mean, Carlson, I guess, is starting to become. He's probably going to slow down, and I think he's more. I think if they give Jacob Chikrin more and let Carlson do other things that he does well, then they'll be just fine. But I don't think Carlson is like the guy who's going to go out there, play 25 minutes a night, quarterback to top power play unit, all that stuff. I can see him starting to pull back a little bit here. I would rather have Chikrin over Carlson. I would probably take Dougie Hamilton over Carlson as well, just because the upside for Dougie is there.
All right. I think we're getting a nice picture here. We got 4 guys to go. Noah Dobson. Now, yes, Lane Hudson's going to be running the power play, but Noah Dobson's going to be the all-around heavy minute, guy in Montreal. He's not B tier, but I think he's certainly a C tier guy, and I think he's in that Sergachev Chikrin range here.
I would leave him there. A lot of people talk about, he had a down year, and you're like, sure, he did. He also played in Long Island. So let's keep it a stack there. That team had no offense. And even regardless of what happened last year, the Islanders had one of the worst power plays on the face of the earth, and they were terrible at penalty killing. Their special teams was atrocious. So if you're worried about him, they go, he's not going to get top power play minutes here. It doesn't matter if he gets them in Montreal or not, because he didn't have anything to go off in Long Island, and he still did pretty well. He's a good skater. He can move the puck up ice. you also don't have to play him at those ridiculous minutes. You can shelter him a little bit as well. Maybe you let Mike Matheson go out there and take the super hard matchups that he doesn't have to face every night. Get him favorable matchups. Those points will come. Let's not forget as well, there's Cole Caulfield on the ice at some points with him, right? There's going to be Patrick Laine. Ivan Demidov is there. Nick Suzuki, you can find back in it as well. He's going to have a lot more options around him for guys who can find the back of the net. I think the upside is there. I just don't know if it's like 70. That's my problem. I think it could fall short, but he'll be a well-rounded defenseman.
And, even though it's a stat we don't love on the show, plus minus should be pretty good in Montreal now that they've revamped and really made their blue line strong. 3 guys to go here. I'm assuming all 3 of these guys are going to go in the D tier here. Charlie McAvoy, Jake Sanderson, and Jackson Lacombe. It's just a matter of where we're putting them. Any of these guys capable of leading off this D tier here? Maybe, Sanderson gets forgotten about a little bit, but because he is the top dog in Edmonton, maybe he should be ahead of Carlson.
I don't know what to do with Jake Sanderson. It could be hit, it could be miss. Thomas Chabot is still there.
Okay.
I mean, Ottawa had a above average power play. I don't know if they can repeat that.
So we're going to put him, I guess, maybe until Luke Hughes does it. I think you got to put ahead of Luke Hughes until he gets handed that torch. But I guess we'll still put him behind Carlson because Carlson's still kind of lingering there with the Capitals. Yeah. Charlie McAvoy, I think, would be, if the Bruins weren't going to be so bad this year, I'd have him in that C tier. But because Boston's going to be terrible, I could make an argument to put him over Carlson. He can lead off the D tier.
I'm not touching him with a 10-foot pole. I want nothing to do with Boston. Their offense is going to be terrible, and I just want nothing to do with it. Their power play, I can't expect it to be good. There's not enough skill on the ice. Like, once you take David Pastrnak away, then like, where are the Bruins going to get the rest of their offense from? Like, it's just not a good scenario. And McAvoy on his best day had 56 points, right? Like, that's his best. He's been trending downwards. He was hurt last year, so we'll give him a pass, but the point totals have been going back. I can't, like, again, probably a better real life defenseman, right? He can block shots. He can do all that great stuff, but for fantasy wise, if I'm scraping the barrel for points, it's not with McAvoy.
All right, so there we go. And the last defenseman we'll talk about is Jackson Lacombe, who really came on strong in the second half last year, was given the opportunity, and he ran with it. Going to be a better defensively structured team under Joel Quenneville this year, so there's reason to think that he could have even a better point total than last year. Not a drastically higher total, but he should increase. He's on the upswing. He's going to be given every opportunity to continue the role he had. Yes, he's a D-tier defenseman, but I mean, to me, I'd probably just kind of put him with that Luke Hughes, Charlie McAvoy, Sanderson kind of in that group right there.
Of the defensemen on that like D tier, highest upside goes to Lacombe. Highest upside. If you believe the Ducks are going to be good, then you have to buy into it, right? And it's going to be a question of, how much does Quenneville trust him? He scored 14 goals last year. That is very good for a young defenseman, right? Again, the assists didn't come because nobody can finish. But if we believe that he can take a step and the rest of the team takes a step, then fine.
All right, so I think we got it. I think we did it here. I think is there anything you'd like me to change, or are we happy with the way everything has settled in with the rankings here?
No.
All right.
That looks fantastic. this list is obviously 100% correct. There's no debate.
We got Sherry Radway checking in. You guys suck. Sanderson is way better than D. Again, this is from a fantasy perspective. This is not from what they do on the ice in terms of wins and losses. This is from a fantasy perspective. But thank you for the feedback. You can tell us we suck. I don't care. It's not the first time, and it won't be the last time.
I think this one is just. I think Sherry's a little trigger because we have Lane Hudson in the B category and then Jake Sanderson in the D. And Ottawa fans keep telling me how much better Jake Sanderson is than Lane Hudson, and we all know that's false. But as long as Thomas Chabot is there, I don't know, man. I'm not buying into it. There were too many good things that happened in Ottawa, and if any of that slips, it's going to affect Jake Anderson. Like, first person is going to affect Jake Anderson.
And that's the thing too, when we're ranking these defensemen, it's not just about what they do in a vacuum. It's about, like you just said with Thomas Chabot, there is somebody there that has already kind of played that role for Ottawa. And if Sanderson slips up, they're not going to think twice about going. So that's part of it too, is when you're drafting, you obviously you're not trying to draft guys and then drop them. And not that Sanderson will be droppable, but you're trying to get the maximum value out of these guys. And to me, that's a reason to hold back. Now, that's not to say if, Sanderson falls to me in X round or whatever, okay, fine. Yeah, I'm taking it. He's not a guy I'm avoiding, but, if you're telling me Jackson Lacombe or him, when Jackson Lacombe is clearly going to be the top dog, at least to run the offensive stuff in Anaheim, yeah, no brainer.